Okay, so let's look at our homework really quick. Pull your packet of papers out. And I should see, oh, those look good so far. Okay, y'all, this looks great. Now, all of your paragraphs should be in one document, and this is the way they should look. Notice that there are no gaps in between the paragraphs. Notice there are no titles in between the paragraphs. How do you show when a new paragraph starts? Yes, okay, so I saw that you have titles, so you can just go ahead and mark those out because that will help you remember not to do that next time. From now on, you will have one title for the paper. And where do we get that title? Where does our title come from?
Last sentence.
Okay, and what do we use out that last sentence to come up with a really good title?
Like keywords or
Strong keywords. We want some interesting keywords, right? So let's see. Jonathan called his interesting characteristics of an elephant. And his last sentence was, because of its poor vision and limited head motion, the elephant relies heavily on its trunk and its ears for relating to its surrounding environment. So he's got elephant as one of his keywords, and don't see any others right off. So what do you do if you get to the end, and this looks very nice, by the way. You can see very clearly, this is probably 10 spaces that it's been indented, or at least 7. You can see very clearly where the new paragraph starts. Don't put gaps in between your paragraph. Now, I know why some of you have gaps. It's because when you have double spacing and you hit the enter bar or the enter button, if it's set on auto, I think, that's when it will leave a big gap. These are the mysteries of word processors, okay? I never actually took a word processor course. I've had to figure out everything the hard way. So if you ever have a tutorial you can just work through, that'll help. But I finally realized that unless it's set, unless the, I don't even know what it's called, but you have to go into the inner workings of spacing. And unless it's set on 0, if it's set on auto instead of on 0, when you hit the enter bar and it's already on double space, it'll leave a big gap. Okay? So you got to figure out how to make that different. I'm not going to ding you on it, but I am going to keep talking to you about it. But when you get to college, if you leave big gaps, you will be dinged. Because they will make a mountain out of those little molecules over those things. And I've never had, students usually don't believe me, and they just think I'm being hard to get along with. And then they get to college, and guess what they find out? I was trying to save them! So, anyway, this is a good chance to learn all of those little intricate details. Now, yours might be slightly larger. If we have time, I'll show y'all in the future. Yours are slightly larger. I can see yours are quite a bit larger.
yeah, mine are big. But in the other IW class we took, like some of the stuff in your class, you told us that some stuff is different. And like in her class, she wanted us to do spaces in between them. And so I just did, like I usually just hit the enter button 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
But because I didn't realize that there weren't spaces.
Yeah, well, that's because in MLA there's not. And everything we do in this class as far as formatting goes is MLA, which is the Modern Library Association. And I have my own quarrels with that system of formatting. It is not my favorite. And yet when you get to college, you will be, if you already know how to do all that, it will save you a lot of heartache. That's all I can say. You know? Or even if you just go to a high school, sometimes people will stop homeschooling and they'll go to a high school. And when you get there, everybody's been doing this all along, and you'll be expected to know how. It's just the way it works. It's really annoying. Okay? So, think of me as your buddy I am making you, if you get to where you're going and you do all of this stuff correctly already and you don't make the instructor pull their hair out, you'll be like the teacher's pet. Which is a good thing to be, okay? So all of these things I tell you not because I'm just cranky and trying to make things difficult, but just because that's going to help you a lot, you know. So I try to make sure that what I teach y'all as far as that goes is exactly right. Okay, so let's see. Tell me the title of your paper.
Which one?
The one you just wrote.
Right here. Glorious Titans of the Jungle.
Ooh! Where'd that come from? Let me hear that last sentence. Did you take it from your last sentence?
This makes these glorious Titans of the jungle depend mostly on their sense of smell, hearing, and touch.
Oh, that's a very whiz banger of a title there. I like that. Okay? What'd you call yours?
Elephants' tools for survival.
Oh, cool. What's your last sentence?
Smaller the area, the less such. Oh wait, elephants' feet are made to help them survive.
Okay. I can see how that related.
Mine was essential elephant equipment, and my last sentence was a multi-purpose trunk, keen senses, and intelligence are all examples of essential elephant equipment.
Cool. Excellent. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and work on it. See, this is why I like to have time to go over things in class, because if you can correct it, first of all, you'll get the points. And second of all, when you go to do it again, you'll remember it, right? So let's see what you got. And I think we're going to spiff up Jonathan's a little bit too. Okay, so your very last sentence of your very last paragraph. Okay, and so all of this goes together in one paragraph. Okay? Let's see. Okay, and that should go with that previous part. Did you separate them because they came from different paragraphs in the article? Okay. Well, that's what you do when you're taking, you may have a article that's pages long, but you take the facts that you think are interesting and important and you put them into one paragraph if they're all the same topic, and they all go in one paragraph, no indentions. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so here's her last sentence. Because the elephant's trunk is so naturally strong, it makes them incredible carriers. You have some really good words in that sentence. So you've got a lot of choices to pick from. So what would you like to call it? 2 or 3 strong keywords that you think will make an interesting title. Well, let's see. Here's a choice. Natural and incredible. Or naturally incredible. Or naturally incredible carriers. Or strong and incredible. Or, I mean, you've got some really good words in there, so you've got a lot to choose from. So you want to call it naturally incredible? Okay, so I'll write that in, and then I'll give you points. Okay, now let's see yours, Jonathan. Jonathan's sitting there studying his. I can see the wheels turning in his brain. I see smoke rising off of his head. Okay, let's see. Here's his last sentence. Because of its poor vision and limited head motion, the elephant relies heavily on its trunk and its ears for relating to its surrounding environment. Okay. Let's see. What about, okay, here's a good strong word, relies. What about reliable equipment? That sound like an interesting title?
Yes, but it doesn't sound like it's like you would be reading. If you read something like reliable equipment, you don't expect to be reading about elephants.
That's right!
I would be thinking like about like a hammer or like.
That is
something.
right. Okay, so let me read to you about elephants here for just a minute. Let me read to you this, one of my favorite articles out of the Level 2 handbook. I don't worry about you remembering it next year because you'll forget about it. So listen to this. Tell me what you think this long article is going to be about. Let's see, it goes on for several pages. Here's how it starts. The trained elephant of India, you start to think I have some fixation on elephants. The trained elephant of India is a perfect picture of the power of psychological captivity. Tamed and utilized for its enormous strength, the great beast stands nearly 10 feet tall and weighs up to 5 tons when fully grown. Its tasks may include uprooting full-grown trees, hauling great boulders, and carrying enormous loads on its shoulders. And yet when the day's work is done and this powerful beast must be kept from wandering off during the night, its owner simply takes a piece of twine, attaches it to a small branch embedded in the ground, and ties it around the elephant's right hind leg. Reason dictates that the elephant can easily snap the twine or pull the twig from the ground, and yet the owner does not worry, fully confident that when morning comes he will find the animal exactly where he left him. And he does. What do you think this article is about? It could be.
I'm just kidding. Elephants?
That's a good guess. It's not.
Twine?
No, it's the history of twine. It's called The Myth of Adolescence.
What?
And it talks about how teens in our culture are shackled by the culture of low expectations.
Shackled by twine.
Yes, it's nothing but a twine that can easily be snapped, and yet teens are held captive by a culture of low expectations. So yes, part of the reason, we talked about this last time, but it's going to take a while probably for, when you hear things the first time, they don't always completely sink in. But one thing you want to do about your title is you want to intrigue your audience. You don't want to give the whole thing away with your title. And yet, you want to make sure that when they see the connection after they've read part of it, right? Okay? So, unless you're writing a science paper, if you're writing a science paper, do not do this because you will get dinged. So if you're writing a science paper about elephants, what should you probably call the science paper?
Elephants.
There you go. And the reason I know this, did I tell you all this already? It's about my daughter taking a psychology course in college. And they got to pick any topic they wanted to pick to write a subject. So being an exercise person and really liking exercise, she decided to write about the physical effects of exercise on mood. It was a fascinating paper. But she ended it with a very strong sentence with, for $50, one can purchase a set of running shoes or walking shoes or whatever and be on their way to better health. And she called it cheap medicine. That's what the title of the paper was. Guess what?
She got dinged for it.
Yes, the professor did not like it. Guess what she wanted the paper to be called?
How?
The Effect of Exercise on Mood.
Ah.
So don't do this with science papers, but any other kind of paper, intrigue your audience a little bit. There's certain writers that do this and they do it very well. And, I think, did we talk about the book Where the Red Fern Grows last time? And where do you find that out?
At the end of the
The very end of the book, right? You pick it up and you go, well, this sounds like a book about nature. It's not. It's a sad dog story, right? So, yes, you're right, Jonathan, but in this class, we won't be writing any science papers.
Yeah.
And unless you choose a science topic, but then I'm still going to want you to do this kind of title because you need to practice doing it, okay? Your title should be intriguing. So what would you like to call it, Jonathan?
Reliable tools is good.
Okay.
It's odd, but it's intriguing.
Yes, okay, well, that would be fine. You have something to write with? Okay.
It'd be like totally unexpected. Everyone will think you're talking about saws and hammers and stuff. And it'll be about elephants.
Right. Aw. Are you using his backpack as a bed?
Yeah, it was,
Oh, that's so cute. Okay.
so I just write reliable to.
Yeah, just mark it out and write reliable tools. So I do like to make corrections on things when I can in class because it sticks better, you know? And we're all working on the same goal here, and that is learning to be a better writer. So I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're, being picked on. You're doing a public service when you allow, your work to be read and we talk about it. So don't feel like that you've done something wrong. You cannot improve if I don't show you how you could do something different. Does that make sense? Right? If all I ever do is go, wow, great, nice job, you're going to stay right where you are, right? And so I do, of course, like to put smiley faces on your papers. That's something that I like to do. But also I want to show you, how to do things differently and better. Oh, and I forgot, I get to give you some papers back today. Let's talk about sources just for a few minutes. Don't get a 500-page book, because if you do, you're not going to have time to read it, okay? And we're going to talk about reading sources today and marking them. Yes?
You did mention that we are allowed to use internet sources.
Yes, you have to have a book. Okay, I know that's old-fashioned, but you still have to have a book. And then you have to have 2 articles. And they can be internet articles or magazine articles or any kind of articles.
Could be
Okay?
a book. Like a encyclopedia.
In fact, I don't care if you use 3 books. If you had 3 books that you wanted to use, the main thing is mostly people don't want to use books, and if I don't specify that you have to have at least 1 book, people will only ever get internet articles.
Do you
So
want us to use like Wikipedia?
do not use Wikipedia and the reason why is some of those articles are not reliable, and you won't ever be allowed to use that in a college class as a source. But let me tell you what is good about Wikipedia. Usually at the bottom, if it's an involved enough subject, there'll be a list of links to other articles on the internet. So Wikipedia is a great jumping off point for finding other sources, and so go down to the bottom of the Wikipedia article and it'll list, sometimes it'll be a list this long of other internet sources that you can click on, and those you can definitely use as sources. It's just that Wikipedia, because people can go in and tinker around with it, professors and instructors will not allow those to be used as a main source, but you can use it as a place to go find other sources. That makes sense? Okay, it is handy, yes.
Well, I have 2 books. Is that fine?
Yeah, you can do 2 books and an article if you want.
Alright, do I have to do an article?
Absolutely, you have to have 3 sources.
Alright.
3 sources. So if you've got 3 books, tell me about them, and then I'll give you a special dispensation to use 3 books. The kind of books that are really helpful for something like this is something like the landmark books. These are middle school level biographies. Some of them are biographies, some of them are just stories about things. That's a good kind of book to use, and then even books like this, these small books, they are packed with information about subjects. A great book to quickly acquire a wealth of information about stuff in a really fast way. So don't look down on these kinds of books, especially for relatively short papers, which 5-paragraph report is a pretty short report, really, when you get right down to it, Okay, so we need to quickly move on. Let's quickly talk first, before we start with our main thing that we have to work on today. Let's go over our new style thing that we're gonna do. So far we've done dress ups, and we've done 6 dress ups. Can anybody tell me, just one at a time, tell me what the dress ups are that we've learned? Do which clause?
The www.asia.
Okay,
Because class.
okay. Can y'all think of any others?
The LY Agbo.
Okay, that's 4.
Strong verbs.
Strong verbs. And,
Quality adjective.
right. Give yourselves a hand, that's really good. Okay, now we're gonna talk about sentence types. And Andrew Pudawa calls these sentence openers, so if you've had IEW some other place, have you heard it called sentence openers? Is that what your teachers call it? Okay. Well, I used to call them sentence openers, but now I call them sentence types. This is on page 57. And the reason why is because all of them except for one sentence type starts with a particular kind of word. And so when I would get to the last kind of sentence, and it wasn't because it started with a particular kind of word, it was the number of words it had, then people would get all confused. So I stopped calling them sentence openers and started calling them sentence types. But 5 of them open with a certain kind of word, okay? So if you look on page 57, you'll see that the very first one is kind of a gimme. Everybody writes these without any trouble. I'm sure if I looked at your homework, everyone would have, probably, unless you've learned to do otherwise, you would probably have a whole paragraph full of these things, and that's a subject opener. What is the subject of a sentence? What do I mean when I say the subject of a sentence?
What the sentence is about?
Yes, and that part of speech is always a noun, and a noun is a, what's a noun?
Wait, what?
What is
The
a
word?
noun?
It's a person, place, thing, or idea.
Person, place, thing, or idea. Every sentence has a subject. It's about a person, place, thing, or idea. Or, and it has a verb. If it doesn't have a verb, it's not a sentence. If it doesn't have a subject, it's not a sentence. Okay? So the first kind of sentence type is called a subject opener. These are sentences that either begin with a noun, a pronoun, which is he, she, it, we, they. It can begin with an article, adjective, they, an, or the, or it can begin with an adjective. An adjective describes a noun, as we've talked about with our dress-ups, right? So all of these are subject opener sentences. Parables are stories Jesus used to teach lessons. What are stories that Jesus used to teach lessons? Parables, subject noun. He never forgot his son who had left home. Who never forgot his son? He, subject pronoun. The best part of the year is summer. What is summer?
The best part of the year.
Part, right. Right. Part is the subject noun there. But it is modified with the word the. That's an article adjective, okay? An adjective describes a noun. Sweet summertime is the best part of the year. What's the best part of the year? Summertime. What kind is summertime? Sweet. Adjective. Anybody here done Shirley grammar? You know these questions then, right? They're really helpful, I think. Very helpful questions. Okay, so all those are subject openers. Let's see, let me just grab, who in here has not had, let's see, I'm still missing a green folder. Oh, yes. Who in here has not had IEW before? Okay, so I'll read, let's see. Let me see, Michael, whether you have any subject openers. Yeah, I see some other kinds of openers too. Okay, so here's one. The memory is used socially as well for survival. That's an article adjective, modifying memory, the memory. Okay, so there you get credit for a subject opener, and y'all probably include yours right off the top of your head without any trouble. And Jonathan, let's see, he starts out with a subject opener, the elephant's trunk, which includes both the nose and upper lip, is 100% boneless flesh. Okay, all right. So y'all get credit for these, no trouble at all. These are what we call number one openers, okay? And the way we show an opener, the way we mark it is by putting brackets around it, and we put the number of the sentence type in it. Now we'll look at an example in a minute. Number 3 is easy because you've already learned how to do these as dress-ups. Let's look at number 3. There's our old friend, the ly adverb, but this time it's being used as an opener, okay? So, see some examples there. Angrily, the elder son sat down to protest. Lovingly, the father welcomed his prodigal son home. Okay, now here's the tricky part. Y'all already know this because you already have IW. Your dress up doesn't count as your opener, okay? So up until now, you've had to use 1 ly per paragraph. Now you have to use 2 LIs per paragraph. I want one at the beginning of a sentence, and I want another one somewhere else in the paragraph, not at the beginning of the sentence. Okay? All right. Some of y'all may have done that already. Those are really easy, and we'll look at those in just a second, some of them that are marked. Okay. Now, prepositional openers are sentences that begin with a preposition. Who in here has ever had to memorize a huge, long list of prepositions? I had to do it when I was making my kids do it. Okay, so let's look at the preposition list, which is on page 66. Fortunately, since I'm such a nice teacher, I gave you a list of them. Here's all the prepositions your little heart could desire on page 66. There are one-word prepositions, and then there are phrasal prepositions that are prepositions made of more than one word. Have any of y'all ever read Bears in the Night? It's Bears saying Bears book. It's a great book. Let me see if I can find it over here. I just remembered it all of a sudden. It's one of our favorites. Ah, yes. It's a book made up of nothing but prepositional phrases, which of course prepositional phrases can't be sentences because they don't have verbs in them, but still it's very entertaining. Woo! Now, in bed, in is a preposition. Out of bed. Out of bed, to the window, at the window. Out the window. Out the window, down the tree. Out the window, down the tree, over the wall, and so it goes on. All of those words that start each of those phrases are prepositions, okay? And so what we want to do is start at least one sentence in a paragraph with a preposition. And fortunately, these are not hard. These first 3 sentence types are, of all of them, they're probably the most doable. So I wouldn't be surprised if y'all already had some sentences that start with prepositions. Let me just, oh, here's one. Here's one in Michael's. Over time, the matriarch passes down this valuable knowledge to the younger females of the herd. Over is a preposition. I bet you girls all have them. Have you got to the point yet where you just are automatically kind of clicking these things off in your head as you write? Okay. Let's see. Right off. Well, anyway, they're not that hard. So let's look at how we mark these. look at page look at page 114. This is a page that shows you what your pages ought to look like, okay? So notice all of these dark bolded numbers and brackets. Notice how they're all mixed up. In other words, the first one you mark isn't going to be number 1, and the second one you mark isn't going to be number 2, unless it is. I had one student one year, I was reading his paper out loud in class one day, and I said, all of your sentence types are in order. And he said, I've been doing that all year, haven't you noticed? So like, the first sentence he marked was always a subject opener, the second sentence he marked was always a prepositional opener, the third sentence he marked, he got some kind of enjoyment out of challenging himself to put them in sentence order. But notice how the number 2 there in the first paragraph on page 114. There's a prepositional opener. In the 1840s, the group of 15 Texas Rangers bravely fought, et cetera, et cetera. The next one's a subject opener. Each Ranger carried 2 1836 Colt Pattersons. And then if you go down a few more sentences, a few more lines, you'll see a number 3. Unsurprisingly, this sparked his interest. You'll also notice if you look back up at the beginnings, fourth line of that paragraph, you'll see another LY underlined, and that's bravely, okay? So look quickly at the example checklist in your book for number, on page 194. And you'll see where I've mentioned sentence types. So you've got to mark one of each kind in every paragraph. You can have lots of each if you like. It doesn't matter to me, but I only want one of each kind marked, okay? So you're going to mark one subject opener in each paragraph, one prepositional opener in each paragraph, and one LY opener in each paragraph. Does that make sense?
I thought this was a 5-paragraph before.
It will be, but you only have 3. Oh, this will only be a 3-paragraph report. This one we're going to work on. We're not doing introduction.
Oh, okay.
The research one that you're
Right,
doing
okay.
will have introduction and conclusion, but the one we're working on this time is just 3 paragraphs to practice a certain kind of outlining technique. Okay? Good question. She's paying attention. Okay, let's go on now, and we'll come back to that if we have time. Okay, we really don't want to run out of time on this because this has been confusing in the past, and I found a way to make it less confusing, but I just didn't get it redone. So hopefully the next group will. Let's see. All right, take these and fold them so that title thing with the little picture is on the front of the folded paper, like a book.
Right,
Uh-huh. Yeah, can you hold that up so everybody can see it? Okay. And then this the same way. It just suddenly occurred to me last year to do these in different colors, and then there wouldn't be so much confusion about which book we were talking about. Huh? Yeah, whales are fun. Okay, whales are interesting, elephants are interesting. And they make good subjects to practice these things on. The print of this turned out really light. I don't really know why that is. I tried to reset it so it would turn out darker, but I don't know what's going on with it. Okay. Now, so everybody should have 3 books with the title folded on the front. Dante, you'll be watching this at home. And so this is how Oh, I gotta send you the tabs, Dante, so I guess I'll have to send you, I'll send you some printed booklets too, because they're in your PDF file, but if you print them out on white paper, it'll be confusing. So since I gotta send you tabs, I will send you printed little mini books as well. Okay, now, like we talked about last time, if you were going to write a article about, a report about India, and you had a gigantic article in the encyclopedia about India, you wouldn't go through and keyword outline every single line in the article, right? So how did we go about taking our keywords for this last assignment that we did?
We took specific facts that we like best.
Okay, what we thought was
Interesting.
or important, okay? And you decided what 3 topics that you liked best too, right? I didn't want you to write about all of the elephant body parts, I wanted you to choose, right? And so when you write a paper, unless the professor or instructor says you're going to write a 2,000-page paper and this is what you're going to write about, or a 2-page paper, and this is what you're going to write about. Lots of times you'll be given a choice about what to write about. And sometimes it's hard to choose. You know, like the psychology professor said, choose any psychology topic you would like to write about. Thankfully, I don't know how she came up with it. Kayla was able to think of a subject that she really wanted to write about, and she chose the effects of exercise on mood. So, but there's a vast amount of information about that. So then you have to narrow it down about what particularly she was going to talk about. So she picked 3 different areas to discuss. What are mood disturbances? How are mood disturbances in the chemistry of mood disturbances? And then the third part of the paper was the effect of exercise on mood, how it affects the chemistry. Okay? So you have to have some way of doing it. And then too, normally the teacher or professor or instructor will say, and you have to have X number of sources. In other words, you can't just go to the library, get one book, and use that one source for all of your paper. And so you've got to have some way of taking information from a number of different sources and putting it all together. And that's what we're going to learn today. We're going to just pretend like these are 3 actual books, okay? They're not, but we're going to pretend that. So let me get out your colored sticky tabs because this is the fun part. And you will enjoy using these. I've got some open already. So. This is one of the greatest inventions known to man, as far as being a student goes. I love these. Have y'all used these before?
No, but Sarah showed me hers.
Oh, okay. They're fun.
Then our dog chewed hers.
Oh. Well, they came from Staples. You can get them. They're, I think, ridiculously expensive for what they are, but they're so handy that I always keep them on. I always keep them around. Let's see, where's my package? Oh, there's my package. My package is sort of used up, but I use these for a lot of things. You notice probably that I mark places that have mistakes or things that I want to change. I'll put a tab on the page. And it's a lot better than highlighting because the problem with highlighting is sometimes it's not your book, right? And then too, if you highlight the page, then you've got to flip through the book to actually find highlights. So if you take this and you just put them on the edge of the page, then you can go back and easily find it. You don't have to flip through the book, desperately searching. And two, if you're reading to study for a test, or if you're reading a book to study for getting ready for write a paper, or like you've been taking a science class and you have a bunch of questions to answer, so you go through and you read the questions before you actually go read the book, then as you find the answers to the questions, instead of stopping and taking the time to write it down right then, just stick a sticky tab on it. Or if you find a place in a book that you think is really interesting and you want to be able to come back and find it later, or you think, wow, I like the way he said that. I'd like to look back over that again and see how he did that. Stick a sticky tab on it. These are amazing. They're really helpful. So what we're going to do is go through a process where we sort of pretend that we're getting ready to write a paper using books. And so what I want you to do is, let's see, open up your, get out your, y'all have your composition notebook with you that you use for homework? Yeah, take out your your spiral bound notebook. Did you bring yours, Michael? Spiral bound, okay. Whew, we're gonna have to fly. Okay, turn it sideways and across the top, and I want you to do this. You know, I've been to Staples several times lately, and I never think about buying new markers when I'm there, or eraser stuff. It's kind of a,
You should make like a list.
yeah, I should. That's what normal people would do, you know? Normal people would make a list and take it with them, but, I don't know. I had a nice red marker that I was using. I don't know what I did with it. Okay, so across the top, I want you to write and separate it out. Kind of put B in the middle of the page and put A and C separated out.
Do you send it like this?
Yeah, like that. So like put A, B, and C over there.
Where in the book? That sounds like a weird question, but like the next page that we have.
Yeah, the next page is great. Okay, so Grace, hold that up and show everybody how I showed you to do it. See how she's got A, B, and then she put C over there.
Wait,
And these
we
stand-
never-
You just stick it
Cause
under.
I want it to be a.
It doesn't matter, just put it wherever you can see it. Because I want y'all to leave room to write, okay? So take up your tan book. This is mini book A, and so this is why we're calling it A. We could have easily called it tan if we wanted to. And what we're gonna do is I happen to know that this book was written with very good topic clinchers, so we know exactly what the subject of each paragraph is. We're gonna quickly scan these mini books, and we're going to see what possible topics that we have that we could write our well paper about, okay? Because we need to make sure if we choose a topic for a paper, that there's enough information to use for our topic, okay? Sometimes people will want to write about a topic or a subject, and then they'll go to find books for it or articles, and then they'll find out there aren't any. Like one year, I had a fellow who wanted to write about weird weapons of World War II. He had seen some television show. Well, he went to find sources for it, and guess what? There weren't any. The only one he knew of was that one show that he had watched on the History Channel. So I'm sure there must be sources out there somewhere, but he could not find them. So by surveying the sources you have, you find out what topics are available. That makes sense? So you survey your sources first, and then you decide on your topics. Instead of like what some people do, deciding on their topics, and then desperately searching for information, okay? So we're gonna read the topic sentence of each body paragraph, and then we will decide what the topic is of each paragraph. I'll go first. I'm gonna read the tan one, the first page. Humpbacks are mammals. That's the topic sentence, and here's the clincher. Humpbacks are huge mammals. What do you think the topic is of this paragraph? Well, they're all about humpbacks. That's the subject. So what do you think the topic is? Mammals. So quickly write mammals. Let's see how quickly we can go through these. Because then we'll have time to do the other part, which is a little trickier. Okay. Okay, let's see. We'll go this way. Grace, you read the topic sentence and the clincher sentence of the next paragraph
Where?
on the next page. Yeah, we're reading this like it's a book. So turn it over and read the topic clincher for the next one.
The humpback has two flippers and a blowhole like a dolphin.
Okay, now read the clincher. Last sentence.
During the hunt, the humpback sees both flippers and blowhole.
Okay, so what's this? What's the topic of this one? Flippers, blowholes. Okay. All right. Let's see, Emma.
Alright. Humpbacks are is it migrants?
Migrants.
Migrants. Annually, humpbacks spend over 2 months migrating to their tropical birthing ground and a similar length of time returning to cold water feeding ground and migrating.
Right. Migrating, migration, either way. Okay. All right. Anna.
Okay. The gentle giants belong to a
Hierarchical. That means there are
Hierarchical.
levels.
society. And he made y'all what?
Yeah, now that's what we call a dramatic closing. So why don't you read the sentence before that?
Okay.
Almost like you made trouble.
When a trailer comes too close to the mother and calf, the escort turns on its side and lashes him with his barnacle-covered tail. He made
Okay.
y'all what?
Yes. So what do you think maybe this paragraph is about?
Protectiveness.
Could be. Except the topic sentence says the gentle giants belong to a hierarchical society. That means there are levels. What about society
Oh, that's
or social groups? Social groups. How about that? Okay, and then Michael.
Singing whales would be a good name for humpbacks because they are the finest singers in the animal kingdom.
Okay, now read the clincher.
With complex songs that change regularly, humpback whales are truly the symphony songsters of the seven seas.
Okay, what do you think this is about? Does everybody agree? Singing?
Yeah.
Singing. Okay. Singing. All right. Throw that one down. Grab up the green book. Let's get our speed up a little bit. Okay, Jonathan, you start with the title of the next one.
Whales have a solid history.
Sad.
Oh wait, sorry.
That's okay.
Sad. Whales have a sad history. The whale's history is tragic.
Yes. Okay, so what's the topic of this one?
Tragedy, sadness,
Of
what?
their history.
History.
Okay, so sad history. Okay. All right, let's see, I'll read the next one and we'll start around again. Exactly like many human Canadians, humpbacks migrate south for the winter. Humpbacks travel like humans to the warm waters of the tropical lagoons. What's this about?
Vacation.
Yes, migration. Okay,
Vacation.
migration. All right, Grace.
For 4 months, humpbacks eat 2,000
Kilos, yeah. it's
kilos
like
of food a day. Even millionaires would starve.
Okay, so what do you think this is probably about? We're just scanning for topics.
How much they eat.
Yeah, food. Great. Food. Okay.
From the roof of the whale's mouth hang baleen plates like vertical venation blinds. Growing from the roof of the mouth, the baleen is approximately 2 feet long.
Baleen. Now, we don't even really know what that is right now, but we are going to just put it down as a topic. If we decide to talk about it, we can find out what that is. Okay?
Okay. Humpbacks are skilled acrobats. And unquestionably, the event would be a whale of a good time. Humpbacks would sweep the baleen division. Wait, that's the
yeah.
wrong one.
Yeah, just go down to the bottom.
Gold? Gold!
Okay, so that's not really a sentence. So let's see. Let's find a sentence.
Oh, Anna, you would it be but in the forward? No.
Well, just to go backwards a little bit from gold.
Cheers for Canadian humpbacks, bronze. Cheers for the champions, silver. Cheers for the acrobat Olympics.
Yeah, that's not all that helpful, but it's cute, isn't it? I think
Yes.
they're talking about
They're jumping.
acrobats. Acrobats. Okay. Yeah, you can't always go. That's a very clever ending though to a paragraph. So I would give them credit, even though it's not a typical picture.
Gold.
Okay, let's see. All right, pick up the yellow book. Pick up the yellow book. All right. Michael, you read the first and last sentence of the first page of the yellow book.
Tail fin is called a fluke. By their flukes you shall know them.
Okay, what's this? Flukes, definitely flukes. Okay, Jonathan. Oh, Jonathan got the same thing that he read the last time. Okay, not the same exactly, but similar.
The history of worlds demonstrate that humans only love you after they have exterminated your species.
Wow.
The history of whales suggests that humans can rarely be trusted.
Okay, what is it? What's the topic?
Humans.
No
You think it's about humans?
No trust.
Evil
Trustworthiness, extinction,
destroyers.
Read the first sentence again.
history.
History. Okay, now, oh, here, time out for a commercial break here. This is so important in the world of writing, okay? Would you call what we just read, what Jonathan just read, would you call that a fact or would you call it an opinion?
Opinion.
Okay, always remember that when you're reading something that somebody else has written, they're always writing from their worldview, and sometimes they will present opinions as though they are facts.
Like
I
the
mean,
eggplant.
yes,
They were like, oh, it's a
Right.
roast, but that's just their opinion.
that's right. So you've always got to remember that when you're reading things, particularly in college when they start wading into business that's none of their business, right? You'll have all kinds of people tell you the craziest things. You need to learn to distinguish fact from opinion that is made to look like fact. Okay? All right. Okay, next, let's see, I'll do the next one. The humpback family forms an affectionate group. Affection binds the humpback family together.
Affection.
Or,
Love.
or,
Family.
okay, so family,
No, you could say loving family.
okay,
Yay.
family love, family love.
Or family.
All right.
affection.
Okay, let's see, the song, oh, your turn, Grace.
The songs of the humpback are as different as Beethoven and the Beatles.
Okay,
Songs.
What did I say?
yeah, you said it.
Okay. Okay. The songs are different because humpbacks compose and improvise like human musicians.
Okay, so does everybody agree? Songs? Songs, and we got one more, Emma?
Humpbacks migrate south so the babies can be born in a warm bushwick. Humpbacks, sorry, I was like reading it over before I read it out loud.
Okay,
Humpbacks migrate to Canada for a well-stocked cafeteria and to the tropics for a warm and cozy nourishment.
Nurseries.
okay, what do you think the topic probably is? Yeah, migration. Okay. Now, I want you to screw your thinking caps on very tightly so you're not confused later.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so this is where we go, now let's see. I've surveyed all of my sources and I see what kind of topics that I have, okay? Lots of times you can find out what the topics are just by looking at the table of contents, right? Or you can look at the index of the book. Or if it's an encyclopedia article, sometimes it'll have bold black headings in the encyclopedia article and you can find out topics that way, right? But sometimes you have to actually do a little bit of reading and so you're jotting down what your topics are. And so what we don't want is to just use one source for a topic. We want to find a topic that there's plenty of information for. Does that make sense? Okay, so do you see any up there that have at least 2, if not 3, sources where you can find information?
Migration.
Okay, so we've got migration in this one. Woo! We have
In all of
migration
them.
in migration in this one. We've got migration. Oh, so I think migration would be a strong topic. What do you think?
Yeah.
So these all connect together.
I'm not really sure if this would be one, but like the family and social groups.
Yes! Yes! You absolutely could do that. Okay? So social groups and family, because remember it was talking about the mother and calf and they had an escort. So family and social groups would be excellent. Y'all be circling these on your page. Okay. We've got
Songs and singing.
songs and singing. Now, somebody figured this out one year, and I thought it was brilliant. There is another topic that we could put with this, and we could have a bigger topic that would include both of these things. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Flippers and blowholes.
What?
Blue flippers and blowholes.
Okay, well, no, I'm still on the singing one. Is there something we could put with singing that would go along with this? But we could call it a bigger topic.
Acrobats.
Yes. And what could we call it?
Like
Songs.
Acrobatics.
talents.
Talents. So singing, acrobats, and songs all could go under the idea of talents, right? Talents. Which would be a fun topic to write about, I would think. Talents. So sometimes you can do that. Sometimes you can put together some topics and make a bigger topic out of it, if you really wanted to write about it. Now, so I heard somebody mention flippers and blowholes, and what would you put together with that?
Flukes.
Okay, and what else? There's something else we could put with that too.
Baleen.
Okay, and what would this topic be called if we put all these together?
Like the body parts.
Yeah, body parts. Do y'all see that?
Yeah.
This is starting to look kind of confusing. I like to use different colors when I do this, but I don't know where all my markers have gone. So these are really going to be body, and body. You could write a pretty good paragraph about the body of a whale if you put those 3 sources together, right? Is everybody with me on this? Because this does kind of get confusing. Okay, so let's see. What do we have left?
Both history. Is that history and history?
History and history. And it's okay that we don't have 3, but you'd want more than 1 source. So this will do fine. History and history. And let's see. Now we've got,
Animals and food.
okay, we've got mammals and food. Now, I don't think food can really fit with any other topics. I've never been able to figure out a way to fit the food with other topics.
Maybe.
Unless you, I think it talks in there about how they get all this plankton out of the water, and that you might be able to mention that with the body parts.
Or instead of putting baleen with the flippers, blowholes, and flukes, you can put baleen with the food.
Well, you probably could, because it talks in there about them straining. Yeah, so that's a possibility. So for food, we'll just put a question mark. Maybe you could get an odd fact or 2 out of the food paragraph.
Well, you could say something about like their way of life, like they're mammals, and they like you could put mammals.
Or you could have a paragraph about,
like how they like eat their food using the baleen, and then mammals, like how the mammals. eat
yeah,
their
because
own.
the young, yes, the young nurse, and they're mammals. Or you could put mammals, maybe you might find a fact or 2 when you're talking about body parts. You might possibly be able to include a couple of mammal facts, because mammals have certain body characteristics they give birth to live young. Huh?
Yeah, I feel like something.
Oh, okay, and they nurse their young, right? So it's possible you might be able to use that for body, and it's also possible that's a really good idea, and I never thought about that, but you might also actually be able to do a paragraph if you wanted to about food or meals. Okay, so does everybody have all this marked? So we're gonna now practice how we go about putting these things together in one outline. So I'm gonna erase this. Okay, so let's look at page 146. Now, we're gonna work on the sad history of whales just because it's an easy one and it only has 2 books that have topics in them. So this is called a fused outline. What does it mean to fuse something?
Put two things together and make it through.
2 or more things, yeah, to join them, right? And this is so clever. Back when I was doing research papers in school, we had to write all our facts on individual index cards. Has anybody in here ever had to do that before? Talking about an annoying way to do a paper. We had to write our individual facts that we found on index cards. And then woe be unto you if you accidentally dropped the pile. You know, you were supposed to put them in topic order and all that. Terrible. Yeah, very inefficient way. This is wonderful, but if you ever have a class where the teacher says for you to make out index cards, what should you do? Yeah, if you want to talk to the teacher about it, you certainly are welcome to. You don't ever use my name. Say, Mrs. Kimbrell said we shouldn't do it this way. Don't ever do that. And you just do it if the teacher insists on it. The right way to do it is the way the teacher says.
Or you could put paper clips on them.
Yeah, you could. And now they even have those nice thick ones that have,
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
kind of thing.
but it's still very inefficient. So what I want you to do first of all is we know
Staple them together.
if you have a thick stapler. What we know that we don't have anything about the sad history of whales in mini book A. So we're just gonna go ahead and make a big X across this one. Okay? Because notice how the topic says sad history of whales. And we know that mini book A did not have anything about the sad history of whales. Jonathan read both of them and they were in book B and book C. So we are now gonna take up book B, and that is the green book. The green book. Okay. So, and we're going to mark our books for the sad history of whales, okay? So the sad history of whales actually starts on the very first page of the green book. So I've only got 3 colors here for my tab, so I'm gonna pick a blue one for this. And I'm gonna put a blue tab right on the edge of this paper. And I'm going to write history right here, okay? And let's see. So did everybody see how I did that? Put it on this side, just like if you had a book, you want it to stick out so you could see it. Stick it out from the page. Okay, so write history on there. And let's see, the yellow book, well, lo and behold, the history of whales starts at the bottom of the first page. So I'm going to take another blue tab on the yellow book. I'm going to write, stick it down here on the bottom where it starts. The history of whales demonstrates that humans only love you after they have exterminated your species.
That's
Okay, so I'm going to write history on this one too. Now I've got nice neat things here so I can go back and take my notes. And this is a good thing to do when you're writing, when you're reading. Instead of taking the time to write down page numbers and all that, just stick it on the book. Okay? So let's look at book A, and we're going to take some notes on our fused outline. Right there on your page. Okay? So we know all of these are about the sad history of whales. So this is book B that we're taking this out of. And we're going to write down 5 facts about the sad history of whales. Okay, whales have a sad history. Only a century ago, there were 100,000 humpbacks. Today, there are only 10,000, half of which feed in Canadian waters. For a century, whaling ships equipped with exploding harpoons sailed the seas looking for whale oil for soap and whale meat for cat food. Slaughter was horrific. Ultimately, humpbacks became commercially extinct, which means they were too few to be profitable. In 1966, they were given worldwide protection. While in Atlantic Canada, they are slowly increasing in number. On the Pacific coast, the outlook is less cheerful. The whale's history is tragic. Now, we don't need to write down whale history tragic because we already know that this is about the sad history of whales, right? We're not going to worry about that. Only a century ago, there were 100,000 humpbacks. Okay, so 100 years ago, 100,000. Wow, I haven't used but one word. Okay, now 10,000. Now 10,000. Okay. I've got to hurry. For a century, whaling ships equipped with exploding harpoons sailed the seas looking for whale oil for soap and whale meat for cat food. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I think anything that explodes is kind of interesting. Ships exploding harpoons. Okay? Now I think this is pretty cool because it's sort of disgusting. Whale oil for soap, whale meat for cat food. How about this? Oil for soap, meat for, I'm out of words. No, we can use for now. Meat for cat food. How about that? Well, just do what I did. Just put pointy things on the top of the
It's
circle.
like it looks kind of like, you know, like, okay, not I mean like, you know these little, like, how people will draw little devils?
Oh yeah, okay, good point. All right. Ultimately, humpbacks became commercially extinct, which means they were too few to be profitable. Okay, so I'm going to do commercially extinct. Not, I don't want to take the time to write out the word profitable. I'm just going to put profit. Okay. While in Atlantic, oh, here's an interesting fact. I think I want to put this. In 1966, they were given worldwide protection. 1966, worldwide protection. That WW is helpful, isn't it? Everybody knows WW now stands for worldwide. Okay. We're done taking notes for that. Oh. Y'all got it written down? Okay, now we're going to do book C. All right. Grab up your book. You're going to,
See the last two.
oh, okay. All right, let me read this one. The history of whales demonstrates that humans only love you after they have exterminated your species. That's not a fact. In the world, many humpback populations have been wiped out. That is a fact. Greenpeace was founded in Vancouver in 1970 to save the whales from the harpoon. That's a fact. Probably pollution and contamination are more deadly. That's a fact. Oil spills pollute, poison waste pollute, nuclear tests pollute. Yes. Now hunting with video cameras, whale lovers spend millions each year, but unless the oceans are cleaned up, the humpbacks will not repopulate the seas. Okay. We have to clean up the oceans for them to repopulate. If they did, would fishermen tolerate their competition? I don't think I need to include that as fact. The history of whales suggests that humans can really be trusted. Not a fact. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's go back and find out what facts we can put down for C. Is everybody ready to go? Okay, many pops wiped out. Or you could say obliterated if you wanted to. Alright, then I'm going to put Greenpeace, 1970, Vancouver. Vancouver is in Canada. Probably pollution and contamination are more deadly, well now, than the harpoon. So now we have oil, poison, nuclear. Oil, poison, nuclear, pollution. Okay? Now hunting with video cameras, blah, 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 blah. But unless the oceans are cleaned up, the humpbacks will not repopulate the seas. Okay. Oceans. Dirty. Not repopulate. That's just another way of saying that. Okay? And that's pretty much it as far as facts go. We don't really have any more facts. Okay, does everybody have those down? Okay, well here's what we need to do for the next part. You have to look at those facts. You notice you've only got 7 places to write facts here. We have a total of 9 facts there, okay? So you have to decide which facts you want to use for your paper. So I'm going to circle the ones I think are the most interesting, and I'm going to circle a total of 7. I like that one. I like that one. I like that one. I like that one, that one, that one, and that one. Decide which facts I want to use. And then you write those facts down here on the bottom. You can choose different facts if you want. You don't have to choose mine. Oh, I'm going to have to let y'all go. Now, we didn't have time to put all the colored tabs on our books. So when you get home, you're going to have to decide, let's see, your other 2 choices for your topics are going to be the body of a whale, and of course we've got information in all 3 of those, and then we're going to have migration, and you've got all 3 of those, okay? So when you get home, what you need to do is put tabs, a different color tab for the migration parts in each book, and then even a different color tab for the body of the whale, the flukes, the, what you call it. Yeah. And this is how your books will look. Let's see, what did I do with those extra ones? And now I need to let y'all go. Kind of whole set. Oh yeah. See how mine look? Yours are going to look like this. It says on your assignment sheet to use the next topic with the color tabs, but we didn't get all our tabs put on. Okay, so yours are they're going to look like this. You're going to have 3 books with color tabs, different color for each topic. Okay? If you get confused about it, call me and let me know, okay? And, all right, any questions?
The paper we're writing is on
Whales. You're going to write a topic, a paragraph for each one of sad history, a paragraph about migration, and a paragraph about body of a whale. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes.
But don't forget about sticking your tabs on. I'm sorry we didn't get to do that. But you can use this to help you remember, that each of those has. The only one that isn't going to have all 3 sources used is the one we just did, the sad history. Here. Okay. All right, you guys, let me know if you have any questions, okay?
Thank you.